Know Your Candidate. Presented by Portland is Possible, broadcasted by XRAY FM. In this segment, we offer a brief background on the visionary candidates that are proudly standing and running for the acclaimed Portland Area City Council. For now, we have a candidate of District 4 that incorporates downtown, Slabtown, Chinatown, Lincoln, Hillsdale, Eastmoreland, Goose Hollow, and the Pearl District.
Hi, my name is Lisa Freeman. I am a government transition and community safety specialist, and I am running for City Council in District 4.
How should the city think about balancing economic and environmental interests as the region grows?
So addressing our climate emergency does come with an economic imperative. We have to be able to meet our carbon neutral goals by 2050, and we have to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. And so not only is this something we have to do that we actually can't afford not to do, but there is opportunity here for economic workforce development to change the way that our economy works in order to align with it meeting our climate goals. At the national level, there's been a lot of discussion about a Green New Deal, and it's languished a bit at the national level. But in Portland, we actually have a really great example of a local level Green New Deal through PSEF. So we have the funding to achieve our climate goals, which we know what we need to do. We have great plans already in place. We know what we need to do to reduce our fossil fuel dependence and our carbon emissions, and we have the money to do it. And we have the money to also do workforce development, to train our next generation of workers to be participants in benefiting economically from our new climate future.
What should be the future of RAC and the city funding for the arts?
So our vibrant and thriving arts and culture in Portland is one of the things that everyone loves about Portland. It's one of the things that makes Portland different from other cities, and in particular, the fact that our arts and culture are accessible to people of all income levels. It's not just something that is for rich people. And so I think to the extent that the city can help to continue this in Portland, that's what we want to do. We want to live in a city that's affordable for artists to live in, musicians, comedians, chefs. We want a city where people can thrive, and where I think about my kids in 10 years, they're going to be just finishing high school and college, and they're going to probably have their first new jobs. And I want them to be able to enjoy the arts and culture that Portland has to offer at an affordable price. And so I do think there is a role for the city to play in making arts and culture affordable for all Portlanders.
As Portland develops a vision for the future of the city, what are two groups or communities that are not always at the table that you are committed to engaging?
So one of the biggest impediments that we have had, which is our form of government, we have fortunately voted to change. And so that will be the first task of our next city council, is to make sure that our new form of government, which is meant to be more accessible, more responsive, more collaborative, actually delivers that for Portlanders so that we can solve some of our most complex problems. And that's something that I saw working for the city for 2.5 years before we enacted charter reform, is just how much our form of government encourages silos and a lack of collaboration that keeps us from being able to collaborate to solve our most complex problems. I think another impediment to achieving these big economic, environmental, and cultural goals is nostalgia for the past. I don't think there's anything wrong with thinking or knowing or loving what Portland was in the past, but I think in some ways it does keep us from being able to move forward and be excited about the ways that Portland is changing and the ways that we have an opportunity to be involved in creating what our new future looks like.
What part of the district do you expect will change the most in the next 10 years?
So I live in District 4, or I'm running in District 4, and I live in District 4, which includes all of the west side and then scoops up Selwood and East and Westmoreland and some of the southeast neighborhoods. So I think the part of my district that's going to change most in the next 10 years is going to be downtown and the parts of the central city that are in District 4. And this is something I'm actually excited about, reimagining what downtown could look like in the future. I think we have to acknowledge that things fundamentally changed during the pandemic. And they changed for downtown areas all around the nation, not just in Portland. Workers that are going to come back to Portland working downtown have come back. I think we've seen that stabilize. And so thinking about how we get the foot traffic to keep our central city and our downtown revitalized is going to come from either residents, workers, or visitors. And so if we know we have the workers that we're going to get, how can we reimagine our downtown to make it a place where there are more residents? So doing conversions of office buildings to residences. How do we get more small businesses into Portland storefronts? Because those folks will also create foot traffic and bring people down. So I think being able to, again, re-envision a new future for our downtown that doesn't involve as many people working in office buildings there is going to be a critical change for District 4 and an exciting opportunity to create something new.
Lightning round. If you had $5 million, what is one thing you would buy for Portland?
I would give every Portlander a month of free public transit.
Whom from Portland's past or present should our leaders take notes from?
Commissioner Joanne Hardesty.
Where do you get your coffee?
Maplewood Coffee. It's the best coffee shop, and I recently learned that it's in a commercially residential zoned area.
If you couldn't live in Portland, where would you want to live?
Amsterdam. I think it's probably the most Portland-like city not in the U.S.
Would you describe Portland as more grunge, more jazz, or more indie pop?
I actually think it's math rock, but if I have to choose between those, I would say jazz.
So now you know your candidate, or a bit about them. We like to thank the visionary candidates, also like to especially thank all the volunteers and organizations that put this together. We couldn't do this without you. To look at each candidate, be a good Portland citizen, and to be a dashing and informed voter, listen to XRAY FM to learn about ballots and the new ranked choice voting system. And check out portlandpossible.org.